This cute little gray bungalow. It looks like something that might be in my neighborhood. It's really, really sweet. And they've got very simple landscaping. One thing you'll notice, or I have noticed, is that in Colorado in general, Denver in particular, and also in my neighborhood, they're not like me. They're not crazy gardeners. Because they are leading interesting lives doing other things. Sometimes that's raising children. In this case, a lot of them just enjoy. They live in Denver for a reason, so they can escape to the mountains. So they ski, they hike, they fish. They do all of those kinds of outdoorsy things, and everyone here is in such good shape. Get lots of exercise. So their interests may not be as horticultural as mine, but they definitely lead lives that are probably a lot more interesting. We went down the street to some neighbors of theirs that are closer to our age, and boy, they had a wonderful garden in the back. I'll try to show some pictures from some magnificent crabapple trees that they had planted many, many years ago, and they're just stunning. This is really interesting. Look at this tile inset, this artistic driveway. And then there's just perennials on the side. This is a really cute Spanish house, and you can see that they have a sweet patio in the back. But this is definitely more lots of front yards like this that are just pollinator-friendly front yards. Lots of clover, lots of pollinator-friendly plants. And it looks more like kind of like a wildflower meadow with grasses and clover. Some different self-seeding annuals and such. And by the way, this is an effect I also saw lots in Scotland in public places and in urban areas, not so much in the country, but in urban areas, very much just this natural look. Love it or hate it, but it is definitely a thing right now. This house is under renovation and is having some new sod laid, but look at how interesting that brickwork is. Next to a stucco house that also has a gorgeous lawn. And I love their street for the same reason that I love ours, our old neighborhood and our new neighborhood, and that's because all of these older homes are so distinctive. Look at that one. It looks like a little fairy tale house, a fairy tale cottage. Love it. I think they've got a baby or a baby on the way or something. Lots of young families on this street. And lots of stucco houses. This is very characteristic of Colorado in this part of the country. I'm not telling any of you who lives in these parts what you don't know. Look at that beautiful pop of red as we walk down the street. Right there, I bet those are poppies. Pop of red poppies. And forgive me, I'm no Stewart. I'm just kind of trying to capture what I see. That house there with all of the perennials in front, that's the house that we went to last night. We had cocktails, enjoyed the garden. They were absolutely just great host and hostess. Lots of gravel and rock used here. And it's interesting, you can see it's a cloudy day, but you all know that Denver can get extremely hot and extremely cold and extremely dry. So all of the landscaping here is intended to kind of address those issues. Look at that cute little house. Lots of salvia in front. And then look at this sweet, sweet house. Very romantic. In tone and in execution. And I love this effect right here of plants growing up through the gravel, the perennials growing up through the gravel. I think that might be a look that somehow I would try to recreate if I lived here, because I just love that look. Again, more meadowy, a little wilder. And the nice thing about Denver and Colorado in general is because there's not the terrible humidity, they don't seem to me to have as many pest problems. And when something does bloom, because it cools off at night and cooler in the mornings, even if it gets really hot during the day, then they've got the luxury of long-lasting bloom. So when things do bloom, they hold that bloom for a lot longer. I can't even identify many of these plants. I'm going to have to find out. Okay, actually I lied. It wasn't that house we were at. It was this house, which looks kind of similar. Beautiful, beautiful backyard. And now I remember, because they had all of this gorgeous lemon-colored yarrow. Moonshine, is that what that is? And wonderful berm plantings. I really, really like the way their berms are planted. And of course, they've got that blue-purple combo that I love so much with the gray, with hints of gray foliage. Now this right here would be what you would call Hellstrip gardening. Unirrigated spaces between the sidewalk and the street. Things that just go to seed, come back, and the soil is moist because they've had rain. But those are plants that can really tough it out. And another just adorable house. I love this flat-topped stucco adobe-esque house on the corner. Look at the little greenhouse window. Very New Mexican or Colorado. And as Jamie said, little Jamie said, as we were driving along, everything just looks so green. So much more green than it typically does. Even for Colorado, even though it's spring, I think they've had a really good wet spring. Jamie was even saying that there was more humidity here than he was used to. So many plants here I don't recognize. They're kind of familiar to me, but I'm not that acquainted with them, so I'd have to look them up. And I'm trying to look up some of them, but I don't have really good Wi-Fi reception here. I'm having trouble getting a connection to identify a lot of these plants. But it would be a whole different perennial plant language, I think, here in this more arid environment, but also an environment that enjoys really good drainage. Unlike moi, in my heavy clay soil. And here's a different perspective as I head back that way. really love that pop of red at that house. Now this looks to be one of those sand cherries like Tay and Jay have. And here's a great color echo of this in the pot in front of it. Look at that purple stem and how beautifully it echoes the color of the foliage in the sand cherry. And they have done their Hellstrip there in a really interesting way. I'm sure that'll be fabulous when all of those things mature. And then here's just an example of somebody being resourceful and putting some flagstones from the street, a little flagstone path through the grass and up to their steps in this charming home. Beautiful salvia. You guys know I love that salvia, but their blooms are, I'm sure, far more enduring than are mine. And looks like some snow in summer here, which looks beautiful. I understand it can be a little bit overly aggressive, but in this case, it's really wonderful. Here's my question of the day. What is that pinky red stuff at the top of the stairs? I just love it. And I want some. So I need to discover what it is. If you guys know, that's my question of the day. Please share with me any information you have and how to cultivate it. My kids called this the Hansel and Gretel house. And I mean, look at this magnificent tree. I don't know if that's a Norfolk pine, but it very much looks like something from a fairy tale. And they said Hansel and Gretel. Look at the sweet gate. If I ever wanted to have a gate that went down the west side of my house, maybe even into my backyard, on the east side, something like that. That little fence door, isn't that dear, with a lantern hanging above it? Really love it. And then home again, jiggity jig. We've crossed the street and we are back on their side of the street now, rounding the corner to their house. Look at that sweet pink rose growing over the fence. And that color of iris, that lilac iris, I absolutely adore it. Kind of like I adore this red door. Haha. But I see that Thunder flag again. So go Thunder, beat the Pacers. And thanks for hanging out with me on this unusual Wednesday walkabout. I'll be back at the cottage soon. Maybe I stole a few ideas from this little stroll in their neighborhood. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, share with others who might enjoy it, and follow Mountain Millennials on Instagram. Got home from Denver this afternoon, and we are still getting rain. And what was remarkable to me when we drove up was just how little color there is. I mean, I've got a little bit of purple, a little bit of pink, but there's remarkably little color. And I think it's because we've barely had any sunshine in between these huge bouts of rain. So while I hope you enjoy the Wednesday walkabout that I did in Denver, this is what Oklahoma is holding. And don't know if tomorrow it's going to be really rainy or not. But the rain continues here on the prairie. Oh my gosh. Wow. Lots of people are heading home right now because it's 5 o'clock traffic. And I've got the TV on, I'm safe, but I may be heading down to the basement pretty soon. So I just wanted to give you guys a look at the wild weather we're having right now. Welcome home.